Nothing totally random. I don't...
It's my show, too.
We're on. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Finance Agents Live. This is episode number 54.
Car 54, where are you?
Okay. That's a TV show from the 1960s. What TV show is that?
Don't know.
Okay.
That was
there
the
you
first
go.
thing that
Sounded
came
good.
to my head when I said that.
All right. Well, today's show is, I think, going to be a fun show. We're going to be covering this is week 1 results from the Will It Fund series, where we go through the videos that we've been dropping every day and that we're going to continue to drop for a while, and tell you the answers, the results. So over the last week, including last week's live show, we've done, I'm getting some, what's this?
Facebook.
Oh, starting over again. That's cool.
They're going to miss my joke.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Nope. Maybe. Coming soon. Hey, restart. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Finance Agents Live. This is episode number 54.
You missed my joke. Car 54, where are you?
There you go. It's even funnier the second.
I know, because my jokes are always funny.
This is the
likes
week
working with
one
me.
results. Week 1 results from the Will It Fund series. We launched it last week, where we told you what we're going to be doing. We did the first scenario as an example, and now you've had all week to drop your votes.
Think about it.
Think about it, put your comments in there, and you can continue to do this for the ones that are be coming out in the future. Today, we're going to tell you the answers. We're going to tell you what happened with each funding scenario. Did it fund? Did it not fund? Why? Why not? The suspense is...
Killing me. I almost didn't make this show. I almost didn't show up because I was dead.
Yeah, well, thank goodness. Thank goodness we were able to pull it back. All right, so let's jump right into it. The first scenario is the one that we talked about last week on the show. Why don't you give everybody the one-sentence summary of what the scenario was?
This was the pasticceria that was
The Italian bakery, okay.
that was looking to get better terms on their equipment lease, and had a little bit of a cash advance that they wanted to refinance as well. So kind of debt consolidation.
Right, so it's a growing company. 3 months ago, they just got some funding. They were not happy with the payments. They wanted to cut their payments and maybe get some extra money. Give me whatever you got, is I think what they said.
Yep.
Darren looks like he's getting ready to give some of the comments from you, our most valuable asset. What do you got for me?
All right, so we actually had a few comments on this, and just want to point out, Car 54, Where Are You, is the actual name of the sitcom.
It's the name of a show.
It's the name of the show, and it was a line they used.
From 1954. That's why it was Car 54.
The year Tim was born.
By the way, my son thinks I'm 1,000,000 years old. He said he thinks I was alive at the time of dinosaurs.
I got carded the other day, so just...
You know what? The other day, I was standing in line. I ordered a beer. They did not card me. The woman right after me, who to me looked like about the same age, they carded her, and I remember thinking, that's kind of silly.
That's not right.
Am I so old that they don't card her? But frankly, I don't want to be carded. And then I told some women about this. I was informed by women around my age that they want to be carded because it makes them feel young. I don't want to be carded because don't waste my time. Come on, who are we getting here?
I was at a table, though, also, everyone got carded but me, and I told the waitress, well, there
Oh.
goes your tip.
All right, we got a
Circle
little
back
off
to
track.
the comments.
But let's go back
Okay.
to the Italian bakery.
Pasticceria.
Okay, so for pasticceria, we had 15 thumbs up,
Darren's on your team, obviously. On that.
1 thumb down,
Okay.
and, excuse me, the comment, assuming she has a fairly high personal credit limit, we would be able to get her some UBF for working capital.
Yeah, remind me, she had decent credit, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, it was like a 720 or something.
720. Okay. So the first comment is if she had good credit, she could get that. Any other comments before we launch into the live results? Live. Coming up soon.
Dun, dun.
You know, that's the only comment worth reading. Okay. Okay, so did we apply for UBF, which is our credit card program, for working capital for this borrower?
That's a great question. I don't underwrite that program, so I don't remember. I do the term loans, but their credit, they didn't have comparable credit to get really high funding amounts. I think
What's comparable credit?
For
What is that?
So if you have a loan, like say your house for $100,000, then that would be comparable to
Getting a $100,000 business loan.
Right. Or if you have your highest limit is $20,000, then you could get $20,000.
So if you own a house in California, good news, you can get a really big business loan.
Right.
If you're in Alabama, it's going to be smaller.
So I don't think we put them through that because they had a few
Inquiries.
Right?
Okay, yeah, that's that hurts.
But this one was tricky because when I went over it with the borrower and had the welcome call, he said it was an equipment lease and that the bulk of the debt that he needed to refinance was an equipment lease for 3 years. And so as part of that process, you need a copy of the note to refinance it. And when he sent it in, it was actually a 3-year SBA note that he had just recently got them, and you can't refinance those, or it's very difficult to refinance them, and the lender did not want to refinance it. So we went to another lender, and he had had too many inquiries on his credit because of the cash advances and other things he had been looking for. So unfortunately, he was not fundable at this time, but we could wait a few months for the credit inquiries to drop off and then try again for the a different type of loan.
All right, so just a quick recap. They had about $73,000 in equipment and about $7,000 in cash advance with those daily payment loans. And by the way, if you go apply for daily payment loans, a lot of brokers out there will blast you out to 5, 6, 7 lenders, and you could get a bunch of inquiries very quickly. So what you're saying is, we were dead in the water because you can't refinance an SBA. You gotta.
And I don't think he realized that it was an SBA.
Right.
He was just like, oh, I don't know. I just got the loan and I was happy to have my equipment. And that's fine for if you're a business owner. You know?
Okay. So to go through it, no real estate, so there's nothing you could do there. The credit card program, we're hindered by a bunch of inquiries. So you said you have to wait a few months for the inquiries to fall off. It's really longer than that. Inquiries are there for 2 years. Generally, we need some time, more than 3 months, even maybe 6 to 12 months to really have inquiry relief for that particular program. Business term loans, you can't refi an SBA easily. Equipment, they didn't need more equipment. They just wanted cash. A retirement account, they had none, so you couldn't do that. What about more daily payment loans? They didn't need it. They already needed relief from their payments. The last thing they need is more daily payments or bigger daily payments. And a $7,000 daily payment loan is really hard to refi. It's so dang small to begin with. Factoring, there's no such thing for an Italian bakery. What am I missing?
Well,
Fix and flip, not relevant.
For the
so
term
that
loans,
is a no.
For the credit, I want to say that there is a lender who will just look at the past 6 months of inquiries, and if you have 6 inquiries in the past 6 months, it's too many. So if you do wait 2 or 3 months, sometimes some of those inquiries can fall off, and that wait time can be shorter.
Okay, so that's something that we could go back to after some time in order to reapply. Hopefully they're able to hold on and manage the payments. If they end up missing payments, then they're just dead in the water for most everything that has good rates. So that is the first one. We started off with a bit of a downer, but the Italian bakery is a no-go. All right, moving on. What is the next one? Was me and Trey.
So we have a high-end spa.
High-end spa. This one felt like a weird one to me, honestly. Would you really need money to buy rocks and soap? That's surprising. I don't know how expensive rocks and soaps are.
Depends on how much soap you need.
I guess.
He needs a lot.
It's got to be expensive, fancy soap or something.
Well, I mean, if you're trying to sell it, you're going to buy boxes and boxes of it.
Is that what they're doing? They're selling it for inventory? I thought they were using it on their. I don't know what they do at the
I thought it was inventory, so I thought he was reselling it.
Inventory means selling. All right, see, you learn something new every day.
I don't know.
Right.
I thought they were just using this fancy soap on their clients.
Are you ready to learn how many people thought it would fund and how many people thought it wouldn't?
Sure. What's the?
All right. So we have 8
feedback
for funding.
Okay.
1 thought that it wouldn't.
8
we
thought
have a lot
it did.
of comments on
1
this.
thought it did. Okay, great. Let's hear some comments.
In fact, we have even a comment from the Miss Flum here.
Poda. That's her. What's that name? That's her superhero name? What do we want to call that? Anyway, go ahead. What do we got?
All right. So first, this is from Reservoir Music Company. Only chance is an RBA or BDRA. We don't know the amount he's seeking or monthly revenue. It's a startup, low score, no funding.
Yeah, let me recap the scenario real quick. So it was a newer day spa that was growing quickly, but they didn't have 2 years of solid tax returns because the first year was the startup year. You're always running a loss. Second year was about break even, and then they were having a good partial year. So that's the scenario. They needed more money for inventory for rocks and soap, which I, again, thought was a little bit weird. And so they wanted to get some funds. That's pretty much the summary of it, right? And so the first
Pretty
vote
much.
was that it would fund, because why? What's that again?
That
it
would not fund
Would not fund.
because they don't know you don't know this amount they're seeking or the monthly revenue, and it's a startup. The only possibility would be RBA or BDRA, but based upon the low score, not going to fund.
Okay, so that is a negative. What else we got?
Yeah. So conversely, Steve Simmons says it can fund with a combination of RBA and BDRA. If his ex-wife was willing, I actually have two of them that would.
Oh yeah, that's because the guy said that his ex-wife could be a guarantor, which I said, right.
He has
Good
two
luck with that one.
ex-wives, apparently.
Oh, that's right. He recently had a divorce, so he had credit issues, so he had bad credit. It's
Steve
all
said
coming
he
back
had
to
two.
me now. Okay, so RBA potentially or BDRA.
And then Poda here said, what are his monthly revenues?
That's a key question to ask if someone is retail. Just so
Right.
you know.
Monthly revenue, are they bouncing payments? Are they getting payments on a frequent basis?
Right.
And Daryl just said BDRA.
BDRA. All right. So what actually happened is...
BDRA!
Hey, there it is.
They didn't want the high payment.
Daryl, you've won the prize.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, somebody else said RBA. No, somebody said it wouldn't fund, and then whatever. Okay. Anyway, you got it.
Steve Simmons.
BDRA, in my opinion, for the funding specialists out there that are talking to people and asking questions, the BDRA is the most commonly forgotten thing. Frankly, I just see it all the time. People ask a bunch of questions, say there's nothing there. They don't even ask if there's a retirement account. The borrowers aren't thinking about it because it's not something they think about for financing because they think it's their retirement account. And if you don't ask, you could miss out. I had a restaurant that I did a while back where everything was negative. They wanted to buy a restaurant. It was just no, bad credit, no revenue. It's a startup. It's out of business. Couldn't do it. And once I found out they had a couple $100,000 in a 401k, it was a slam dunk. Easy, closed quickly. So
Michael Jordan.
yes, exactly. Lots of slam dunks around here.
That brings me to another point. I also want, as we go through these, not only to pay attention to the scenario, but critique us on how or what we're doing right or wrong on the funding call. I know Trey has 10 phases of the funding consult. If you are not signed up, get signed up, work with us on the 10 phases of the funding call. And I want you, for these three, notice the greeting. Did we say who we were? Did we say the company and who referred us? And making sure it's a time to talk. Those are the first three steps in your consult call. You should be hitting them every time.
Right, and do I have spinach in my teeth? Do I look funny? Am I slurring my words?
Am I wearing the same shirt as I wore last week?
Continuity, right?
He loves the pineapple shirt.
Hey,
It's his
there's a
favorite.
thing called laundry.
That's right, yeah. It wasn't
It's
even
this
dirty.
newfangled thing.
Anyway, this one funded, so we ring the bell. If you're in the office, you get sick of the bell. Look, you should put Darren on so that you can see what he's doing right now. Okay, so that was scenario number 3, right? That's actually the first funding. What's the next one? What do you got? Number 4.
Let me just clear my ears. Okay, so it's a nail salon. Next one is nail salon.
The nail salon. Oh, this was an interesting one. Okay, so I'm going to just hit you guys with a super quick overview on the scenario again. The person who just bought the nail salon, bought an existing nail salon, bought, air quotes, it was really gifted to her by her sister, I believe. So it had been in operation for a long time. The sister sold it to her sister for free. And now you have a weird scenario where it's not a startup, but generally the banks look at somebody who buys a business as a startup. Now, is it a startup or not? In my opinion, that's the key determinant of whether or not we can get institutional or good financing for it. There's other options as well. Because she worked there before she bought it, or afterwards, so there's some continuity. I don't know. I think that's one of the keys. The revenues were strong. But we had no historical. I mean, why wouldn't you have right? Or why wouldn't you have historical if you got it from your sister? Think if anybody's going to give you information on the business when you're about to buy it, then you think your own family would. But who knows? Maybe they got stuff buried in there, right? Anyway, so did we get any salient
You got
comments?
some responses.
Okay, great.
Everybody thought it would fund.
Everybody
Nobody thought it wouldn't.
And right after we quit, you go, that's not gonna fun.
Well, you're telling me, yeah. So that's
what you
the
thought.
thing, right? So everybody who heard it thought that's a slam dunk. I thought no way, right? If you buy a new business, it was gifted to you. Now the value is really suspect because the bank's saying If it was so valuable, why'd you get it for free? You only have 6 months of revenue. The credit was not amazing, right? If I remember correctly.
It was okay. They had a BK though.
Yeah, the
about
BK.
10 years
Banks
ago.
hate BKs.
They had a BK
I'm
about
sorry.
10 years ago.
They hate them. All right. So everybody disagrees with me. Who's right? Let's give it the any
Everybody
Yeah,
is,
we do.
but you.
Oh wait, there's some comments.
We do have a comment from
Oh,
Joe,
hit
and
me with
it's
some comments.
quite impressive.
It's
So,
impressive. Good work, Joe.
well, heck yeah, it'll
You
fund.
impressed Darren.
But I think everything will fund if you work it long enough.
Man, I wish that was true. Golly.
But he does. This is something you probably should read because it does go into
Sure, yeah, go for
a
it.
lot of
What's it
different
say?
pieces. So, with what they've already put in and the value of the fixtures, furniture, and equipment, they should have nearly enough for an SBA loan. In the meantime, an RBA could get them started while we can work on the SBA. We can work on raising their credit and the credit limit so they qualify for UBF. A lot of times it's just a matter of paying down their credit cards to below 40% or increasing the limit so that the debt is below 40% of the total. Really smart.
All right, there's a lot of
And-
stuff in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, more?
and it's always surprising how they can find a co-signer or come up with more down payment money if they really want it.
Okay, cool. So he broke through a lot of those. But just for us to go through the different types of funding, CRE, there's no real estate. So
There's just
CRE and
primary
fix and flip are
residence,
out.
yeah.
Those are out of there. So let's go. I think the next one is credit card program. Do we know if they applied for the credit card program?
I don't know.
Probably don't. No. Okay. So what actually happened?
So
Everybody's dying to know.
I know when.
Oh!
Let me get on.
I'm wrong for the first time ever. Rhoda can attest that I'm never wrong, except for now.
So we were able to get the financials from the sister, and they were able to credit it because the borrowers were generating revenue. They already had the existing salon, and they were looking to open a second location, and they had already paid some of the deposits to the contractor or the architect and things like that. That was able to count for their injection.
Okay.
So yeah, it funded like
What did they-
$133,000.
133,000. Was that an SBA loan?
Yes, sir.
Hey.
It sure was.
All right, sweet. So that's like around 7% interest, right? So
Yeah,
pretty
it's-
good rate for funding a business worth so much money. It was given away for free.
She moved back to, they were, I think, from Vietnam, and so the sister moved home. And so
Okay, so she's a flight risk too for lending. Right.
she'd already moved.
Okay. All right. Well, excellent. It went through. That's good news. See, Rhoda made some magic happen on that. You guys may not realize that, but that's not an easy deal to get through, I don't think. I mean, do you agree or disagree? I mean, you did it.
There were some challenges along the way. We worked through them. They were great borrowers, nice to work with.
Okay, so it wasn't the hardest deal you've done. You're saying it's there's always some challenges. I mean,
Right.
there's no such thing
Every
so you're
business is
saying
different.
it
Every
wasn't that tough.
borrower is different. Every situation is different. There's always hurdles with term loans that you work through, and people being willing to give up their idea of what the business should be versus what the bank's idea of what it is. There's always some give and take, and what the loan should look like and what it looks like in the end is
Okay.
challenging.
All right. Cool. Well, hey, that is 4 different funding scenarios that we put out. We have a 5th one, and we're not going to cover it today. It's
No.
the first. Wait, did I miss one?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Next scenario. Hit me.
He was wrong.
Rehab.
That's 2 times in one show. That never happens. All right. So we got a rehab clinic.
Yeah.
Trying to remember.
They had really high gross revenues.
Lots of
high
money
net-
coming through.
Mhm. They needed money quickly for the contract with the state for the rehab.
What were they looking to open up? More locations?
They needed money to acquire the patients. Yeah, open a second location. I don't remember, but they needed it for bridge financing to secure the contract.
Now, when I hear that, always one of the most frequent, really difficult things we have is somebody comes in and says, I need the money by X date. That may be true for you, but nobody else gives a crap, right? The lenders don't care if you have a deadline, and frankly, they shouldn't, because they're not going to make a stupid mistake because you're in a rush, or maybe you didn't have the ability to plan out far enough in advance to give yourself the time it takes to get funding. If you want to get funding, start in advance, don't wait till the last second, because guess what? Nobody else cares that you have a deadline. So that is the biggest risk factor I saw. Another one that I saw was when you're dealing with state things, you get paid by the state, or has to do with rehab or things where you're getting paid maybe by insurances, there's always some extra complications in there. that the lender's going to want to understand. And if they don't understand that business model, they might be nervous. So that also can reduce the number of available lenders. So those are the risks that I saw. Were there any that you saw on top of that? Or maybe things that you thought were great about it besides what we talked about? Lots of money and strong borrowers?
Yeah, I guess the amount that they were looking for, they had cash on hand, and sometimes when that's the case, the bank will decline it because they say you should self-fund rather than take out a loan. You're either just gonna undercapitalize the business and you'll get yourself in trouble, or you need more and they don't want to undercapitalize you and you'll lose the deal because they don't want to take out that much money.
Let me explain that a little bit so you understand what we're saying. We have people that come in here and they apply for $100,000 and they show us their financial statements and it says they have $1 million in the bank. And most times I see that, we're like, phooey on that because it is generally, if they got $1 million in the bank and they need $100,000, they should just pull it out of the bank. And why they don't is because it's fraud. That's my personal experience. So I think when the banks see that, hey, you got $400,000 in the bank and you need 100, why don't you just use the 100? Unless you got a real good answer, they're going to cast doubt on the entire thing. And if they dig far enough, they're going to find something they don't like. The banks have lots of things that they potentially don't like if they look. Is that a good summary of what I'm talking about?
I think you're more pessimistic than I am. Like, oh, it's fraud. I don't think it's fraud. I think sometimes people don't want to use their own money, and you know there are advantages of getting a loan rather than using your own money.
Yeah,
or
write off
like,
the interest expense.
Right, and there are advantages to that, but just you know, self-funding, banks don't want to give out money to someone who doesn't need it, or
I mean, banks only want to give money to people who don't need it.
But they just wanted to. They're just like self-fund there because you know you're going to undercapitalize the business, and it's not really going to help you grow.
I don't understand the idea that if they have so much money in the bank that by giving them a little extra money, they're going to undercapitalize the business. So to me, those seem like two different things. They either think you really need $1 million and you're only asking for $100,000, that's undercapitalizing, or I don't believe you that you have $1 million. Maybe you're really just falsifying your bank statements. That's what I think when I see that. Right? Or no?
I don't always think it's fraud. I am skeptical, but...
Skeptical? You immediately. You're like, why do you got $1 million? What do you need
The other concern about this borrower I had was that he had good credit and he was in a time crunch, and so I knew that he didn't want to accept a cash advance because his credit was good. I thought that would have been a good fit for his timeline, but I just knew talking to him that wasn't an option for him. So he didn't want to do an SBA because of the timeline. He needed it quickly. He didn't want to pay for faster money. So there was really one or two lenders that work quickly with semi-decent rates, and they're very credit sensitive or would require a lien on his house. And so he said, you know, those were the bigger obstacles in this file.
Right. Okay. Darren's teeing up the mic.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got?
Well, so we had everybody, again, on this said it would fund. Nobody said it wouldn't.
Okay. Well, it sounds like something that can fund. Great credit, lots of revenue. They got money coming in, lots of extra clients. But once you throw in that, I got to have it by Friday, like, so what happened? Did it fund?
He decided, no, he would self-fund. So borrower walked away. He said, you know, he didn't want to pay for those reasons, and SBA was too long in the short term or the faster money. He got denied for credit because he had an extra ding or two on his inquiries. So
yeah, applying for funding can be kind of a pain in the neck, and why do it if you don't need it? So he self-funded. All right, so maybe he did actually have $1 million in the bank. Maybe, right?
Yeah.
There it goes.
It's not fraud.
All right. Those are our scenarios. Hopefully you got every single one right. It's pretty much impossible, right? Every time what I really want you guys to get from this is we have a conversation with a client. We ask questions. We get a general idea of where we're going with it. Then we send out applications. And when we get back the additional information, there's a lot more stuff that we're looking at. So you told me what your revenues were, but let's say you said you had $400,000 in revenues, but you only filed $200,000 in gross revenues on your taxes. I see that all the time. We have to go with what's on the books, not what you said. Or you got a lot of money going through your bank account, but you're actually negative. You have 5 negative days last month or something. We get a lot more information back, and then we have to go through and try to figure out, is it really what we thought? Sometimes we can find other avenues, and sometimes not. And that's the other side of what you don't see on these calls. So I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to be doing more scenarios over the next week. Next week is going to be a special show because it's going to be Poda and David for the week because I'm going to be out. I don't know, suppose we have any questions or comments or anything on today's show. Nope.
We're going to have so much fun without you.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope you guys wear costumes or something.
Be sure and watch, and we'll get like 100 million views and make Tim sad.
I hope there's 100 million views. That'd be cool. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for the day. Thank you, everybody, for coming into our Will It Fun series. No. This is the Will, but this is the.
Hiya! God, you hurt my nose.
Come back next week. We'll ring the bell together. Have a good week, and
maybe Tim
I'm outta
wears
here.
pineapple shirt.
I will wear my pineapple shirt next Wednesday, wherever I am.